Tim Lewis is going to speak for Cope.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Terry Martin very much for his kind words. He's absolutely correct. I'm very, very proud as a voting record of Ellen Woodsworth representing Cope on the previous council. And you know, Terry hits the nail on the head when he says, the real question is not what do people say, but what do they do. So let me cut right to the chase. With every major development that comes before council, it must be an absolute minimum requirement that 20% of the units are social housing. Period. Full stop. I will not waver from that. Cope is a municipal party that received in this campaign and every other campaign collectively not one dime from developers. And there's a reason for that. We don't want to be beholden to developers after the election when they ask that that requirement for social housing be lifted for their particular development. So number one, 20% of all development for social housing. Number two, when I was on council, as the chair of the Finance Committee, I became aware of the fact that, in my opinion, the Property Endowment Fund is not being used creatively, but at no cost to the taxpayer. I'd like to establish a blue ribbon committee that would look at things like this. Property Endowment Fund is worth $1 billion. That's billion with a B. And it's got a lot of cash reserves. If it were to begin purchasing at market prices, condominium units, and rent them out, even at below market rates, the rate of return the PDF would get on that investment would still be higher than what it currently gets at a bank, which is about 0%. Interest rates right now are, about 1/4%. So that's number two. And number three, I think we need to do more to set aside city land for co-ops, as one of the other individuals said, and non-market housing. So 1, 2, 3, let's get Cope councillors elected that will implement 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, Tim Lewis for Cope. Who's going to speak for the Independents? Sandy Garasino. And the subject, of course, is affordable housing.
Just like to give a little bit of context to where we are, because I think a lot of people don't really understand where Vancouver really stands in this conversation. Our median income in the Metro Vancouver region is in the lowest third nationally. We are below Sudbury, we're below Windsor, and we're below St. John's, Newfoundland. But our housing prices are the highest in the country and twice the national average. Relative to median income, our housing prices are 56% higher than New York City, 31% higher than London. When people feel like there's an affordability crisis in this city, it's because there is. It is not only at the level, at the subsistence level or at the poverty level. This is creeping throughout the entire economy. And it is driving our workers out of this city as they look for other opportunities somewhere else. We have to crack the code on this. And tinkering is not going to do it. We have to get all the possible solutions on the table. Most of the parties, the approach so far has been build more condos, build more condos. We've been doing that. And the problem's only getting worse. We have to look at what are the root causes. And a major issue that we are not talking about as a community, because we have difficulty talking about it, is challenging. But it's global capital that is coming into this city. We all know about it. We know about the empty houses. We know about the empty condos. I have had 2 people come up to me to say that they're the only occupied house on their whole block. So come to votesandy.ca or ask me more questions. I don't have the solutions here, and now I'm getting stopped. But we've got to really understand what our problem is and really determined to stop it.
Sandy Garasino, the woman who actually identifies the elephant in the middle of the room. Well spoken.
Well done, girl.
All right, Maxwell.
I brought something to your attention We can build low-cost housing for $1,000. You know these campers they have around the city of Vancouver? Well, it costs $1,000 without all the labor costs in it to put one of those together. We could easily put in empty lots, we could put these in all around our city. Number two, we have people that have houses, have rooms, are able to rent them out. The city has never contacted them. In the city of Toronto, over 50% of renters are from houses alone. They don't have the prices that we have here. But these big boys like the MPA or the Coal people and Vision people, they've got the big backings of the big corporations. Let's build more. Let's get more money out of poor people. Well, there won't be poor people here anymore. Matter of fact, there will be nobody here to pay the taxes. If the taxes go up on the rich man, he packs up and goes someplace else, because his money is wrapped up in the stock market. So I'm telling you very clearly, we can build very easily and cheaply and don't have to spend a lot of money. But no, these big parties, they don't want to go that route. I had one person brought it to my attention. They brought the attention to COPE and Vision and MPA, and they all turned, oh no, we can't do it. Because why? It doesn't cost enough money. We have to spend a lot of money for something that costs very little. So I understand the 15 cents are here. But I'm trying to tell you that we don't have to spend a lot of money and we can get good results. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ari. Green Park, the Green Party, the issue being affordable housing.
One of the reasons why I chose to run for city council is because on my way from walking to work from my condo in the West End to Cambie and Hastings, I walked by a sign by 3 Harbour Green, and on that sign it says, "Only for a privileged few, starting at $5 million." I have a son who I'd like to move back to Vancouver, and he's hesitant to go to school here because of the price of housing. I have a daughter who was in affordable housing, but the bed bugs drove her out. And she is now in an unaffordable house, except she's got someone living with her. So this is an issue that affects all of us. It affects the businesses because they can't attract people to come, young graduates to come and work for them. I've talked to business owners about that. We need to solve the problem. It is not an easy problem to solve. One thing we've got to recognize right off the top is that there is not enough money in the city budget to solve that problem. Formerly, the federal government was involved at a much deeper level in the provision of affordable, non-market housing, social housing, assisted housing co-ops. We need them to get back on board. It will take the city lobbying intensively to do that. It may not be successful in the short term, but I believe long term it will have to be because people will demand it across Canada. Secondly, we have to look at the way in which we can entice investors to build affordable, and decent, clean, affordable housing. The STIR program is not the way to go, and the reason I believe it is because it's not necessarily affordable, and we're not reaching those 20% targets anyway. And also, by virtue of those decisions being made in one-off trade-off deals with developers, it's like taking a piece of property out of the agricultural land reserve. You take one out, and everybody thinks, oh, my land is going to be worth way more. I'll just hold on to it, won't farm it, and then sell it. So speculation sets in and rising values. I do believe there's a way to go forward, and that is reinstating the tax incentives, as I said earlier. Come and see me, I got a petition on this. Thanks very much.
Adrian Carr from the Green Party. So it's certainly clear that affordable housing is a huge issue, and it's going to be a very important issue in this election. I'm going to make this our last question, and I believe that it is the other big issue, and it's transportation in the city. So you might start thinking about who you want to speak to that. Specifically, the wording of the question is, would you favor reallocating existing road space to improve conditions for pedestrians, cyclists, and public transit? All right? That's an important idea. All right, Ian Gregson wants to go first for degrowth.
Choosing transportation alternatives is a central core to what degrowth is all about. Many people in Vancouver are already doing it. I'm a cyclist. I've ridden my bike for over 30 years, the last 7 years without a car. I sold 7 years ago. Cycling in this city over the last 30 years has gotten better in some ways and gotten worse. Certainly the confrontations in public spaces with motorists has gotten more intense, shall we say. However, I commend Vision for putting in the bike lanes downtown. It's a good idea, and has been very helpful, and it's a big safety issue that has been addressed. What I would like to see, as in many European cities, is a dedication of actual road space to cyclists and pedestrians. We need to putting the traffic back down on Granville Street was a big mistake. I think that was a big error. We need to, the cat is out of the bag, but to put the pedestrians and pedestrianize Granville Street more. And we also, in the very near future, we're going to have to be looking at paying a toll to come into downtown. I mean, it happens in other cities, but eventually it's going to happen here too. I would strongly suggest using examples of 10th Avenue and Union Adenac and making those for cyclists only. That's something I would support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian Gregson. Let's hear what the NPA has to say about transportation issues, specifically the question being, how do you feel about allocating existing road space for pedestrians, cyclists, public transit? Can you envision a new way of traffic flowing, people flowing through Vancouver, not traffic?
Yes, well, it's a very specific
Georgia.
question. Thank you, Georgia. It's a very specific question. I think you can't answer it simply enough. I mean, the problem that we are facing right now is the separated bike lanes has created a huge rift within the community because there was improper consultation. So people are angry about bicycles, they're angry about everything right now with regards to transportation, and we've lost our eye on the prize, which is a cohesive, holistic transportation system in our city that includes bicycles and pedestrians and cars and transit. As a downtown resident, I live in Yaletown, 3 kids. It's become very, very difficult to walk around in my neighborhood because of the bike lanes, which is sort of ironic. Why is that? Because they were planned improperly. I think we need to really make sure we focus on the plan and the strategy. We sit right now with a downtown transportation plan, which is being implemented, but we are without a transportation plan for the overall city. The current one ran out 5 years ago. In respect to that, we reached our goals 5 years ago. In the last 3 years, we're just starting the process now of a new transportation plan. And we need to bring all the communities together, decide on how our transportation infrastructure in this city is going to work, and make sure that everybody's cool with it, and we build it over the next 20 years so that we have a system in the city that works for everybody.
Thank you, George.